With 4 new exotics, a decent buff to the existing exotic weapons, and classified gear, which, as we all know, is not that easy to find outside of the global events, we're all looking for an easier way to get them. The new resistance mode could be the answer. Originally I started doing this because I wanted to complete the Commendation West Side hat-trick, which is to reach Wave 20 in resistance on Powerhouse, Pair 23 and Carrier. But as a solo player I wasn't really making it far past Wave 15. Long story short, I changed over to World Tier 1 and jumped into resistance to see if this would allow me to tick that little box under West Side Pier Commendations. Because at the end of the day, it didn't say I needed to do it in World Tier 5. As expected, the NPCs were a lot easier to kill. Unsurprisingly, all of the gear that dropped off the bosses is World Tier 1 gear, aka materials. However, what was surprising is that all of the resistance caches drop items relative to your gear score. So if you look at the chance of gaining an exotic or classified drop from these caches, which is actually pretty good, running resistance in World Tier 1 is far easier and more efficient. I actually feel like the difficulty to reward ratio is far more balanced than in World Tier 5. World Tier 5 gets quite challenging quite quickly if you aren't running with a well optimized team. Don't think that World Tier 1 resistance will be unchallenging though. At Wave 20 to 25 solo, or 30 in a team, you'll notice the NPCs really start to step it up quite quickly. The way that resistance rewards caches is after every boss wave that's completed, you receive a resistance cache. The level or tier of the cache you receive depends on the wave you have just completed. For example, the Wave 5 boss will reward you with a Tier 1 cache. Wave 10 and 15 will reward you with a Tier 2 cache. Wave 20 and 25 will reward you with a Tier 3 cache. Wave 30 and 35 will reward you with a Tier 4 cache, and Wave 40 and upwards will reward you with Tier 5 cache. The rewards from these caches are as follows. As you can see here, the Tier 2 to 5 caches have a 23% chance of dropping an exotic, and have a pretty decent chance of dropping a bonus drop containing a classified piece. Tier 3, 4 and 5 caches have a chance to drop another classified item, with Tier 5 having a whopping 80% chance. I have a mate that has horrible luck with RNG, so that percentage probably still isn't high enough for him. But for the rest of us, it's not unusual to have a single cache drop an exotic and 2 classified pieces when you get to the higher waves. Even with an unoptimized build, a solo player should be able to make it to Wave 20 to 25 plus on World Tier 1. With a team of randoms, you should be able to comfortably make it over Wave 40. This run I did a couple of days ago with random players, some of which were actually geared to that world tier, and some who obviously hadn't played Resistance before, and we still made it to level 51. In fact, we probably could have gone for another 10 or 20 levels, but unfortunately I needed to log off. I haven't really optimized a build for Resistance, but I've been doing quite well using the 6-piece Reclaimer with a turret as my second skill. I'm rocking the house as my primary, and a decent bolt action sniper as my secondary. The healing station will help with constant healing, particularly through the contamination waves, but will also keep you well stocked with ammo. For the later waves, it would certainly help if you had a couple of tanky DPS builds in the team to take care of the boss waves. A solid strategy with the team is to hold out next to a turret, putting most of your credits into it. But if for some reason you need to leave the safety of the turret, like with the laptop waves, make sure at least a couple stay behind to protect it. If it gets destroyed, you'll lose all of the credits you've put into it. If your team is pretty well specced and on point, this may not be the best strategy for you, as there are crates locked behind doors that offer more in the way of exotics and classified items. But if you're a solo player or have a team just getting back into the game, then you should definitely give this a go. I'm hoping this doesn't get nerfed, but I fear it probably will. But I think what they should do instead is to make World Tier 5 resistance more rewardable. Because considering the difficulty it very quickly gets to, it feels a little underwhelming as far as the loot goes. Anyway, I hope you found this useful. If you'd like to see more videos from me, hit that subscribe button and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!